Guess it wants to stay there. Hi, I'm Wade Barris from the Canadian alternative outlaw rock band Parliament of Owls, and this is my top five. So my top five today is something a little bit different. Not has anything to do with music. It's about growing up. I feel like I've lived roughly 300 years, but I've only lived just into my 40s. So some things growing up that don't exist anymore is what I'm going to talk about. So in no particular order, here are my top five things that were normal growing up in the 80s and 90s that don't exist anymore. Number one is going to malls to hang out. That would just be what we would do. We would get a group of friends and we'd go to a mall, and there'd be a cheap night at a movie theater, and we'd go there and we'd scout for girls, and we'd eventually find the group of girls, and we'd all be too chicken shit to go talk to them. Why? I don't know. I don't know why we were so scared back then. It doesn't make any sense. And we'd just walk around the mall doing nothing, just kind of getting into trouble. We didn't buy anything because none of us had any money, so we just kind of wandered around the mall. Whenever you think about it now, it just seems so ridiculous. I don't know why we do it, but we'd just, I guess, enjoy our own company, and eventually we get sick of the mall, I guess, and we just kind of wander around town and see if there's other groups of people that we could meet up with. It was very bizarre, but I guess that's just what you did. You enjoyed each other's company, and you just kind of wandered around looking for groups of girls that you would never, ever talk to. Number two, I thought this one was kind of weird, and it's very specific, but back when I was growing up, you'd go to a grocery store, and then whenever you'd get somebody, there'd be somebody that bagged your groceries, so you didn't have to do that yourself. Somebody would bag it for you. They'd put it in like a bin, and then put it on like a little trolley thing, and they'd give you a number. You'd go get your car, drive around to this little drive-in place. You'd give them your number, and you'd pop your trunk, and they'd put all your groceries in the trunk for you, so you wouldn't have to carry your groceries or bag them even, you know. I had a job at one of those places for a very short period of time in my life, because I've had a million jobs, and I ended up leaving because I decided to go to New Zealand. And I remember they would get mad at me because I didn't know how to bag groceries right, and probably I still don't. I don't think that's, a skill that I've ever learned to master, is bagging groceries. But yeah, number two was you'd have somebody deal with your groceries. You wouldn't have to deal with them. Number three, this one is crazy because it's something that back then you couldn't fathom it changing. Then one day it was just all gone. Is smoking everywhere. You're allowed to smoke cigarettes wherever you wanted. So in the mall, you could go shopping and look at clothes and just have a dart in your mouth and just be smoking cigarettes. And that was just normal. So you'd have to take your chances whenever you'd get your item of clothes back home that somebody hadn't put like a little cherry burn mark in it. You can smoke pretty much anywhere other than like elevators, and outside the elevators there'd be like a kind of like a bin of dirt with just like twigs of cigarettes in there that people would try to smoke as much as they could before they got in the elevator, and then put it in that little mound of dirt to put it out. Ashtrays were everywhere in cars, not just in the front seats but in the back seats. There'd be a little kind of square latch that would open up, and you could ash into your ashtray. It was disgusting, absolutely disgusting. It doesn't make any sense now whenever you think about it. And in malls, they would have a smoking section, which there'd be no way of really dividing that up. So it would be like you'd sit at a table here, and 2 feet away from you was the non-smoking section, and you could just sit here and smoke cigarettes. Also in restaurants, the second you're done eating your Salisbury steak, you could light up a dart, and then you just put it out in the dish. Doesn't make any sense nowadays. I don't know why, but one day it was just gone, and I guess we moved on, and now no one really smokes. It's super weird when you see people smoking in places, because you just feel like they have no discipline, and it's weird. But that was smoking in different places. The next one is phones. We didn't have cell phones back then, so you had like one landline. And I don't know how everybody just rendezvoused. I think sometimes there'd be weekends, and you just wouldn't time it that you'd get a hold of everybody. And you'd end up going to school on Monday and say, I did nothing. And they said, oh, we had the most epic time wandering around the mall. Where were you? And say, well, I didn't get the call. and you just sit at home, I guess, or just wander around the mall by yourself. But phones, we couldn't text people. You had to actually pick up the phone and talk to somebody, and you had to remember phone numbers because you didn't have anywhere to store it. So my brain would only have like 3 phone numbers I could possibly remember, or else we'd have to write it down somewhere and keep that piece of paper close by so we didn't lose it. And if your parents needed the phone, because you'd be talking to like a friend or like a girl, because that's just what you do. You'd talk to a girl, and you would just talk about endless crap that it was just stupid getting to know them, I guess. And then your parents would need the phone, and they would come on, and you hear the click, and they say, "Get off the phone." And you say, "Okay, I gotta let you go." And your parents get upset because they probably had to do something important on the phone, and you're just tied up talking crap to some girl that doesn't mean anything to you anymore. Right. Number 5 is reading maps. Anywhere we had to go, you had to go to a gas station and find the map that coincides with the place that you're going. Sometimes you have to get multiple maps, like if they overlap on long road trips, and you'd have to memorize maps, or you'd have to have your co-pilot be the one that's telling you where to go. You couldn't just put it in your phone and it takes you to where you have to go. You'd actually have to read a map and figure out the proper route. I used to like reading maps for whatever stupid reason. I don't know. I would just memorize maps and where to go and everything like that. And now I have a pretty good sense of direction in my life, but at some things, other things I don't, I suppose. But maps, we don't do maps anymore. We just use our phone and it tells us where to go, and we just mindlessly go there like a lemming. But generally we get there. Other than one time, whenever like GPS was just coming out, you'd have to get the Garmin ones. And I went to Las Vegas, and I was trying to go to Death Valley so I could see, hopefully, snakes, some form of rattlesnake. And it drove us into like the middle of the desert on like some washed out old seabed from, the prehistoric ages. And we just had like a budget rental car, and we're almost out of gas. And I guess we made it out, I guess, but it led us literally into the desert. There was like, it says like turn left here, and we're on a road, and we're looking, we're like, well, that's just dirt, and then the dirt eventually went to nothing, and then it turned to sand, and then it turned to like some sort of the hills have eyes sort of vibe, and I thought at any given time that somebody's going to pop out and probably scalp us and murder us, but I guess they were busy that day, and I didn't see any rattlesnakes. But Death Valley was super cool. And that's my top 5.